Hi there. In my last blog post, I talked about success not being as good a teacher as failure. And a question was put to me. If we never give up, will we eventually make it? Or is there a time to gracefully retreat? What a great question. Thank you for asking it, Belinda. I really think there is a time to retreat. I also think that sometimes we hang on too long because we have a huge need to be right. And that's ego-driven. I want to tell you about two of those times in my life, both business examples with my husband. When we first met, my husband had a farm machinery dealership in the country town of Western Australia. It was a very successful dealership and we had lots of tractors and lots of machinery on floor plan. I had about an 18-month-old child at the time, and the parent company that we had the dealership with went into liquidation in the USA. Almost overnight, no one wanted to buy our machinery and our gear. I thought it was time to retreat, close the doors, move on, do something else. I could go back to being a CPA, that didn't matter. But my husband was fearful. He thought that he had no choices. That's all he'd ever done. So I pushed and we left. And long story, but I did go back to being a CPA, and my husband studied and became a financial planner. He was on the inaugural national board of the regulatory body in Australia, or the association body, and we built together with another partner a very large, successful financial planning practice in Western Australia. Now you would think that we would have learned from the machinery dealership example, but no. We made and repeated the mistake, but a little bit worse the next time. Some years down the track, we had the opportunity to go into business marketing financial investment products that were using taxation law in Australia at the time. So they were tax-driven. We were really successful at that. So successful, in fact, that the ATO changed tax legislation, the ATO, sorry for my overseas readers, the Australian Taxation Office, retrospectively changed tax legislation, and basically our business was, again once, like last time, we had products that no one wanted, that were not appropriate. But we had a huge need to be right. So we hung in, we tried to massage the products, we tried to work with the ATO, and we should have retreated. We should have retreated when we were in front, long before we did. Because when we finally did retreat, we had lost a lot of money. That was a huge learning experience. And it's one that certainly we won't repeat again. So my question is to you, do you know when it's time to retreat? Do you also know when it's time to keep pushing forward and be the Colonel Sanders or the Thomas Edison to keep going and pushing on? How do you know? How do you know the difference? Leave me your comments. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear any stories that you may have.